Part three. Let's do it. We're gonna get all the questions in this time around because it seems like they're just gonna keep on doing this. All right, we back. We're gonna keep. We're gonna do the questions this time because it's we could keep going and going. So we're gonna make sure everybody gets a chance to hop on and ask questions. All right, let's get everybody back in here. All
Hi.
right, we're back. I'm trying to get everybody back in here. Uh, yeah, I guess they're giving me a time limit now.
It was weird, right? Because at the beginning of when they put us all on punishment, there was a time limit. And then I feel like us being on punishment, they kind of gave us no time limit because like we literally had nothing else better to do with our days.
Seriously, I'm like, they weren't doing this before, and I was doing like 2 hours, of lives. Like this is crazy, but whatever. No, I mean, we. It's probably because T-Bud is probably pretty heavy shadow ban or something. So
Yeah,
they're trying
I
to,
am I'm shadow banned too.
yeah,
But
probably trying to they're gonna try to get me out of these lives. I know that for sure.
I did
Um,
this thing where I try to like change the face of my page so it looks real fluffy. But if you scroll down about 2 years, 3 years, that thing ain't fluffy, honey. That ain't no joke. The government want my ass. Well, fuck.
mm, I'm telling you, I'm like, it ain't no joke now. If you got a voice, they don't want you to have it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where we're at with this.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, like I said, it's because like your story with what happened to my mom. My mom knew what was going on. She knew what these people were doing. She knew about all the stuff that we can't say on here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it wouldn't make sense for me to be silent, say nothing, or do nothing. You know what I mean? So we have to fight and be a voice for those people that can no longer have one. You
Yeah.
know, so that's why we're getting together, we're doing this, we're talking about ways to not just empower ourselves and also stay and be prepared for what's to come and what these people are doing. We need to be aware of,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to have some sense of community to be able
Yeah.
to come together and
Mm-hmm.
when because we are the biggest army this planet has ever seen.
And you
you
spoke,
know
I think it was you mentioned the barter system earlier. It's very interesting because that's where we're going. We're going back. We
yeah.
actually don't really have a choice with inflation of the dollar and everything becoming digital. A lot of people are not going to be able to keep up, and we're going to have to give whatever we have to get what we need. So,
No, absolutely. You're 100% correct. People, but see, a lot of people don't have an understanding of like a barter system because they still get stuck in the matrix. We have to remove ourselves from that. We're back. We're back. We got the whole team back. Okay. So, all right. So this is what we're gonna do. Um, so Neo, so we're going to, of course, feel free to stay in and watch. We're gonna leave this next panel open for somebody if they want to come in. I know I did get a request for somebody to come in. We're gonna have T Bud focus on the questions right now that everyone has. They want to ask them, so that way we can start moving forward. I don't want to take too much of his time and everybody else's time too. So we'll start. We'll just get right into the questions, and if anybody wants to come in, show their face or not show their face, ask T Bud a question. Feel free to send a request. We'll get you in.
Okay, so
Uh,
yeah, I seen. You hear me?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I seen you. She said, "How soon can we astral project if we do proper breath work?" Man, I mean, and for some people it could be 5 days. For some people it could be, 5 years. It really is depends on the way you calibrated your body. People that have been in touch with athletics and different, and anybody that's getting more in touch with the breathing, and you seeing their breathing capacity, if you're swimming or playing basketball or soccer or whatever, to anything with a lot of cardio where you get in touch with your breathing, you're gonna be better off in your calibration as far as like, getting back to that state of being to where you can, can really communicate with yourself beyond this life or whatever, into dreams or whatever. So it really is how you treated your body your whole life, but you see the progress pretty quickly. I feel like as far as like where your dreams are going, and then just being more present in them, and then you get to the point where, you're projecting where you need to be or what you need to see. So, yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
hope that answers the question.
Yeah.
All right, we got another one for you. Comments on parasite collective intelligence compared to how you pronounce that? Psilocybin? I
Psilocybin.
don't know. Psilocybin. Okay.
Psilocybin intelligence. So comments on parasite collective intelligence.
There we go.
Oh yeah, I guess yeah, because all mushrooms, I guess at some level, maybe there is a network. The mycelium might all be connected, and that's what I don't know. I mean, if that's what he's saying, compared to like because the parasite collective being that like everybody having parasites colonizing their bodies, the parasites are communicating the same way. We're on the same mediums that we're communicating through. My parasites is communicating with anybody's parasites if they're around me, and we're talking. The parasites are going back and forth. It's not like it just means parallel sight. So I mean, if somebody's more cleansed, it'll be more favorable ancestry and stuff like that around you than maybe opposed to like malevolent, beings, however you want to look at it. So it's you could look at it either way, because you can have the parallel sight be an ancestor that's benevolent and just working through you and whoever to make connections, and, or you could be malevolent and be something all else. But with shrooms, man, I feel like ultimately, man, I love my experiences with them, but it's still like I feel like the mushroom is has that so nothing will eat it. It's just like there's cyanide on a lot of seeds on the shell. It's not enough to like kill a human, but there's cyanide on almonds.
Yeah,
So
I don't
like,
want cyanide on nothing.
yeah,
You know?
I get it. I'm just saying like the mushrooms, they have the psilocybin so that things don't eat it. But like
Right.
if they do, it's like a response. Like your body, like I feel like you're getting so in touch with your breathing during those trips because you're going through like a controlled food poisoning.
Yes.
it's it's like it's just like you're
Yeah,
going through
especially if
whenever
you
you get pushed to that
fast.
brink.
Especially if you fast before taking them. Oh my goodness.
It's crazy. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
See, the
yeah, I
less
could.
that you are, the more there is. You know what I mean? If you on a full stomach, if you were to take a psychedelic, you're not getting the full trip. You know what I mean?
It'd
Because
be
you have all
horrible.
these, yeah. Oh God, yeah. You have all these substances that are blocking, like, you know what I mean? The whole essence of it. So, I mean, it's just like what T-Bud was talking about with breath work. If you're fasting and you're doing breath work, oh my God, you don't need any of those extra little, boost or drugs because, it's a natural high. It's natural. It's basically an orgasm, in a sense.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like replenishing you at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like
It's detoxing.
whereas like it really is. I don't know, shrooms, man. I feel like shrooms. Everybody should try them. They're definitely. I feel like they're great, man. I feel like it's a nice way to interface with yourself and your emotional situation, seeing where you're really at. Like, because they don't really have an opinion. They just go to the darkest part of you.
Facts.
And so it takes you out of that human opinion, you being a human opinion or there's no opinion in the moment. It's not, it's just the moment. And the shrooms
Mm-hmm.
are, they're in the moment and then they go to that darkest spot, wherever, whatever you got, it could be a good, but it's not always bad though. You go to, it's never really bad. Even bad trips is good to me, but I feel like, yeah, that whatever, all of your talents and everything is coming out of that darkness too. It's just that like burying the traumas keeps that from coming up.
Yeah.
And shrooms makes it to where you can make a pipeline, I feel like.
Right.
Now, I
I
wouldn't say everybody should do. I don't mean to cut you off, but I would say nobody should start off doing 5 grams. Like, it's baby
Mm.
steps with
No.
mushrooms. Like, you cannot think. I know y'all hear Todd like, yeah, I'm taking the heroic dose. Trust me, it's levels to that. You do not want to jump into something you are not mentally, or better yet, spiritually ready for, because
Yeah.
mushrooms do not play. They do not
Mm-mm.
play.
I always
Trust me.
trip because this is what I did. Well, I don't like to suggest or like tell people or anything. Like, let them know how it was for me. And for me, I went through mad trauma in this lifetime that I know of. And before I did my first trip, I was like, nah, I need to like really like practice self realizing, understanding my lower vibrating characteristics, the things that make me feel uncomfortable, and the places where I have some discomfort or dis-ease before I do this, because I understand how an ego death like that could really
Mm-hmm.
open up, like make me more aware of myself. And if I'm already running or coping or not being present for all the pain and pleasure, then that trip is going to consume me. And you don't want to be consumed. Now, like he said, bad trips are good trips because it opens up parts of you that you need to address. But it's
Well,
like,
I'd say it's funny you say that. Bad trips are good trips. It's still a trip.
right,
You taking a trip
Yeah.
somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
you want to prepare yourself. Because I mean,
Yeah.
if you got the kind of trauma I got, you're going to want to be prepared to really get the most out of your trip. You want it to be something that you can take with you and be like, oh, I'm never doing that again. No, you want to do it again and again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like yeah, I feel like you retain more of it. It's just because if you get, it'll just be horrific probably if you don't prepare your body for it. Maybe you'll get away with doing it once in a not small amount, because I've seen some people get away with that. Like if they haven't developed too many traumas and they do a small amount or like one tab of acid, I feel like I've seen them get, if they have support, if people around them, they can do it. But yeah, you want to just prepare your body so that you can experience and really investigate yourself. But
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, so we got another question for T Bug. Can you talk about your experience with Pharaoh's house and what you learned about dreams?
Yeah, I mean, Pharaoh was, as Dr. Africa's mentor. When I took Dr. Africa's course, he was the moderator for the course. Like, he was like the proctor. You send all your work to him and everything.
Mm.
And oh man, he's accessible now, but like he totally got his voodoo. His voodoo is down. He has his voodoo under his belt. Like, as far as getting into your dreams at will, I never knew anybody like that ever in my life. That was like, he'd say, "I'm gonna come into your dream." He'll tell you before he does it. He'll call you. I wake up, and then like 5 minutes after I wake up, he'll call me like, "You remember in the dream, you had the orange shirt on, and we was doing this, and then we were here." I'm like, man, I didn't remember that, but now that you say it, I do remember it. Like, so many times that has happened. I'm like, man, this is crazy. Like, I hear really invigorate the dream, like bring me back, like, and so many times where I would be in the dream is like he's tapping me awake in the dream. So as far as dreaming, he made him just coming into mine or waking me up in mine. It made me prioritize my dreams more in my life. I didn't care really that much about dreams. Like that. I didn't prioritize it. It wasn't like good sleep was cool. I wanted to recharge. I wanted to be the best I was in my waking life. And I knew that, rest was a part of that, but I did not prioritize dreams. I did not know what I was missing as far as dreams were concerned. So Pharaoh really like made it to where I was like, man, I'm ignoring way too much in my life. And this is this whole other life, like infinite life that I'm not even identifying with and just forfeiting. And so, yeah, his website though, man, all his like podcasts and stuff that are on there, man, it's really helpful, man, from like, all the old stuff you can go back to it's a bevy of information over there. I feel like it's a great site, man. Pharaoh's house.
I think
Okay.
conversation is really interesting because people are always like, they say to me, growing up, I've had no trouble with dreaming. I'm a dreamer, too much of a dreamer. And from learning from Mr. Bud, I learned how to balance out the masculine and feminine, the left and the right, the dreamer and the logic person. But I always had dreams, and people would always be like, "You dream? I don't be dreaming." And I'd be like, "How you don't be dreaming? Like, that doesn't make sense. I dream and I remember my dreams. I can recall them even before."
So
Yeah.
you became more conscious than in that state is all. It's really all it sounds like, because I remember my mom would tell me sometimes, I don't know if it was all the time, but sometimes she'd say like, I don't remember my dreams and I don't think I dream. But then again, she was a little overweight. So she had some problems, breathing properly. And so I actually got her on T-Bud's videos too. I'm like, watch some of this stuff, listen to what he's got to say and then, start putting some of this stuff in practice. And so she did. She actually watched, your vids, T-Bud, and your sister's. I know your sister does a lot of the breath work too. So I got her doing that. But, but anyways, the moral of my story is that there are a lot of people who are not breathing properly consciously. So when they go to sleep, they're not carrying that with them. So they are basically, it's almost like death in a way. It's just like it's like you're dead. You just have there's nothing, there's nothing there. So once you are practicing this while you're conscious, while you're awake and you're aware, then you start to carry this with you all the time. You see your energy starts to boost. You see that when you're asleep, there's no brain fog. You're actually clear. You're able to have vivid dreams, and be able to maneuver, like lucidly as well. It's like a natural high, pretty much, long story short.
Yeah.
So you got another question down here. It says, what are your thoughts on mediumship?
I'm assuming it's just talking about just being a medium, like just being a medium, huh? I mean,
that's what I think.
I guess we're all kind of that, I guess, in some ways. But I guess if you want to practice that, then I guess you just have to get into one of them mystery school, one of them Eurobuzz and whatever. I mean, I really don't feel like it's any different, than just studying the MetaNet or any of that. Like, because just doing the breath work, you're going to be a medium. You're going to be, your body just becomes that. You're just a channel. And I feel like, you can just have different schools of thought that bring you to that state. Some people do have different languages, different ways of, communicating the processes for becoming a medium. But I feel like it's not like it's something that's special. Like, we all have the capacity. If you can breathe, you have the capacity to cultivate the breath and to channel. So, I mean, yeah, I see. She said, what do you guys think about urine therapy, right?
Yeah. Just saw that. That's the next question.
Yeah, I see Sebi, he said that he did it after 6 weeks on just water. And I feel like that's like my rule of thumb, man. Like, if I ever got to that point of 6 weeks on just water, I feel like I probably wouldn't care. I probably would be so confident in it at that point that I'd be like, yeah. But like, it doesn't really make sense to do urine therapy under other states, because the more that you eat, the more you need to drink water. So if you're eating less and not dehydrating in other ways, then you're going to just need less water, and then you're going to be more of an atmospheric water generator the more you're doing breath work. And so I don't see you're gonna really have to get to at a cellular level, a different level of clean, to where you could even think about doing something like that. Because I've had to piss. I've been on the road and had to piss before, and I'm like, man, if I smoke right now, I'm gonna dehydrate my body. I won't have to piss. It's like my body's gonna recirculate that old fluid, and so it's like, it just I just know that all them toxins are now part of that water, because my body being water, and it's just not. There's no separation. It's like I'm eating the food out of an emotional attachment, or doing something out of an emotional attachment that dehydrates me. So now I need water, and because the water is emotional lubrication, basically, it's fluid. It's breaking down the earth and washing the earth away, whatever earth element you took on, be it ash or food, whatever it is, because you're just turning the food into ash anyway. You're heating it up to turn it into ash. So it's like you need that moisture to counter it, because it's like air and fire, water and earth. They counter each other. So if you take on more earth element, you're going to naturally need to retain more water. So as in that reduction process of reducing your earth intake and not dehydrating as much, I just don't see a point in cycling it back, because it's all emotional. The water that you're drinking is an emotional. Most of the time, it's just out of an emotional situation, because you ate a food because you were emotionally hungry, and then you ate physical food. Now you need to drink water, to counter that food that you took on because your pH has shifted now, and your body needs more water and more space to balance that pH with. So you expand in weight, but it's just mainly just water.
Yeah,
You know,
water weight.
inflammation.
Water
Yeah,
weight, yeah.
yeah. The swelling is, just the water. So it's just inflammation. So it's like it really is. It's just once if you're reducing your diet and changing that and switching the ingredients up and cleansing and changing your water, constantly just cleaning your water, and you reach a point where you're confident enough in 6 weeks on water, I feel like maybe I'd give it a shot. But I wouldn't even think about it because it doesn't make any sense to me to recycle old emotion back, because it's emotion. Water and emotion are synonymous, like thoughts and air are synonymous. It's like the elements, everything's elemental.
Yeah, no, that's a great way actually of putting it. It's sometimes I feel like some stuff could go over people's heads when they think too much about it, but it's just like once you understand everything's connected, you know what I mean? I feel it's the easiest to understand. It's the easiest to understand. It's a simple like relationship, but just like with eating food or drinking liquids, you know what I mean? It's like a give and take relationship. You know what I mean? It's like what comes in must go out. You know what I mean? It's like LJ said before, as above, so below. It's a relationship basically, in a sense. I guess it's just how people look at things though, for them to understand. But yeah, I mean, just once you kind of get that basic concept, it's super duper simple, for a lot of people who lack the understanding of it. We got another question though for you. What type of breath work do you suggest for beginners to start as a daily?
I would just say just simple Tumo, TUMMO, for 20 minutes a day. Just 20 minutes a day. The healing sounds, because a lot of people will probably just get tired. In the beginning, people usually get tired. They do breath work and then they start yawning and getting tired. Then they get past the yawning stage and then they start getting emotional and they get fidgety and they might cry. And then you get past that stage to where you're just enjoying the breath and looking forward to it more. So if you just incorporate 20 minutes a day, to start the day before food or water, put the air element first, like it is in life. It's ether or air, then fire, then water, then earth. And then if you're organizing life that way, to where so you walk it backwards, like air, fire, water, earth. So that'll be you get some breath, some sunshine, you drink some water, then you have some food, and then you go backwards down the elemental thing. So it would be drinking water again, to counter the dehydration, like 30 minutes to an hour later. Then you get some fire element, whether it's through breath work or through sun or working out. You get the fire element through that circulation, and then again you want to do another breath session to pay respects to each element, and so they all have their place, and there's not all jumbled up. It's all alchemy, and so then like the emotions and everything, like when people, because like that's really what's keeping people from sitting down and doing 20 minutes to an hour of breath work, is the nervous system and the emotional body, or whatever you want to call it, is just so backlogged that once they sit still, it's just so much to address at once. So a lot of people are going to need to do the healing sounds, whether it's the Qigong sounds from like TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, or the ones that I offer, or the ones from the Medu Netter. It's a bunch of healing sounds you can use to target different organs at different times of day and all that. And the more that you do that, the more that you're doing the sounds, the easier it is for you to stay present, because like your voice kind of keeps you up when you're doing the tones.
That's
and
true.
So yeah, the more that you do that, the more that you'll get comfortable with being in that position of doing breath work and having your spine aligned enough to where you're not obstructing the breath, and you have your posture right. So it's all, you're just getting more and more used to that, and your lower back becoming more strong because from being in that posture for longer periods of time, you build that up. And your lower back is always going to be synonymous with the kidneys too. So it's like it's everything is in such a balance. with that. Like the inflammation and when the organ will change your posture, and that's going to just change the way you breathe, and then you're going to think different. So then, and then your thoughts is creating your actions, and that's creating your personality type, and then your identification. The more it gets more and more ingrained, the more that you're going to identify with the behaviors and all of that as who you are, as opposed to being the breath. And the body is just your retainer, this thing that you inhabit, come in and out of, and you are the breath. You're the spirit. And so the more that there's nothing in your way as you enter back into your body and expand and contract the body like that, then, the more that you just have more confidence in it, the more that you can sit still like that, because your heart rate is just going to naturally shift. And the more that you do it, you will hear or feel your heart thump. And then like, okay, I'm going into the slower heart rate. And now my breath, I'm going into a totally different brainwave. My brainwaves are slowed down. My thoughts all slowed down. And then now I'm addressing things as they come and in the moment, as opposed to addressing things like bit by bit or like in a reactionary way of like, you're not emotionally addressing something, so then you eat something emotionally or whatever. It's like you're really getting to the root of it that way. So it really just starts with, probably for a lot of people, they're going to just need the healing sounds to just keep them in that posture for 20, 30 minutes until all those muscles start to strengthen.
Mm. Oh, yeah, that sounds about right.
If I could, to a question of beginners, I'm like right on the other side of that. When I first watched your videos, I was very like this person, kind of clueless as to like what it even meant to physically do breath work. Like, what does that look like? What does that mean? And you mentioned, aligning the energy with the spine, getting the air to go up and down that channel to like kind of wash out all that's no longer needed and get all the emotions and get the energy to move through the body. And then you get still, then the energy starts to become work for you, and that's the breath work. But for me, I like have a lot. So it's hard for me to, and it was hard for me to be quiet. Even listen to like back beats and the healing sounds, that type of therapy. My mind would constantly just leave, go some other place, because obviously all of the discomfort and dis-ease in my body. So I started personally as a beginner teaching through the practice of yoga. Um, there's so many different commercialized ways to do yoga, which is really unfortunate because it's such a beneficial practice. If more of us do the traditional practices and we're able to put those together with what we may learn about the modernized practices, we could really benefit from the traditional medicinal practice of yoga. But for me, when I get on the mat, I don't even call it yoga. That's what I use for my breath work. I use this yoga instructor. Her name is Adrienne Louise. And called Yoga with You. And why I like this instructor, because she teaches you how to move the up and down the spine. Like body shape, do the pose, bring the leg
I've
up.
done some of her classes on YouTube.
Yes. And I love how she teaches children. So it's so easy to follow her and learning how to get the oxygen, past your face and then into your entire cavity, like all the way down to the toes. And that was something that I couldn't like comprehend until I practiced it through this teaching as a child or as a student. I allowed someone else to teach me instead of like sitting down and being totally clueless and being like, all right, what am I doing? Like, and then there's, like I said, thoughts that get in the way from being able to be focused on your breath. For me, as a beginner, I allow myself to be through yoga. But that's my practice.
Towards the end there, you're breaking up, but we could hear you.
Oh.
Yeah, the dog is going nuts. All right. Okay, so we're gonna move along a little bit. Thoughts on living in the U.S. or Canada versus off grid in the near future? T-Bud, what you got?
Man, I would not want to be in Canada, man. I would not want to be. You could not pay me to be in Canada at this point. They got no rights up there right now. They got no rights. It's crazy, man. Yeah, it's like it's such a systematic, shutdown of the supply chain, man, to where like I feel like you just want to be in a place where you got some liberties. Like America definitely is not perfect or nothing like that, but as long as it was written on paper, like man, you can have guns, you can have freedom of speech, freedom to assemble or whatever, all that type of stuff. Like as long as it was at least written on paper, it's a little bit harder to take it away from motherfuckers. And I feel like it's all degrading, but I'd rather be somewhere where there's a population of people with some rights just
Mm-hmm.
because, man, it's just, I don't know where, if you look at it, man, like it really is, it's just like prison, man. It's just like prison, like, and as far as like the cashless society and everything, you can't have cash in prison. You like, it really is like, it's just, I feel like you definitely have to go off grid. Like everybody has to make their daily steps to go in that direction with their life so that they can reconnect with the earth, with life, and and it's something that should be like on, high up on everybody's priorities. But I would not want to be in the U.S. I mean, I would not want to be in Canada. I would be cool with being in the U.S. or Brazil, because they have some gun rights to where you're going to be surrounded. But if they know, like, no one's going to try to force something on you like that if they know they're going to take severe casualties
Mm-hmm.
if they try something like that. So it just keeps it like America is where it's at with the bit of rights it has now because of the gun rights. Honestly, that's a big reason why even a place like Florida is the way it is and the freedoms that it has. They're used to a certain kind of freedom. Because gun, it really is just like the freedom of things. Like it's people kill people, man. Like, it's just a piece of metal until somebody grabs it. It's people killing people. Like, so I just feel like as far as that, if you're talking about being in a place, it's somewhere wherever you can be around people that you can communicate with that know how to defend themselves and grow things. It's a lot of decadence in America. We've been really made to be decadent at this point. But if you could just give to it, it takes two steps towards you. Going off grid. I feel like you enjoy it. You don't know what you would enjoy until you get exposed to it.
That's true.
And
I just want to chime in on that real quick too. Like, I know a lot of
Oh
people,
shit.
including myself, at one point thought, yeah, we need to get the fuck out of America. But
Technical
really,
difficulty.
we have to be realistic and realize this is our home. Like, and be real and we gotta be realistic about third world countries and how the laws are ran completely different in other countries compared to America. As far as freedom, that's why everybody comes here. So it's like at first, we may be upset and we may think that, the logical option is just to get the fuck out. But then when you really, really think about it, where the fuck are you gonna go?
Yeah, you can't go nowhere.
Yeah,
Like, where the fuck are you gonna
yeah,
go? It's not for you to
yeah,
go.
precise.
yeah.
Like, it's best for you to figure something out where you are, which is in America currently, as we know it for now. So you need to you need to construct a plan around what you have right now and the people that you trust and you love right now, and then build from there. Don't think about I need to run because for one, you don't want to go to a whole nother country where you don't know no fucking body and then shit hits the fan and then you just a motherfucker out there thinking that you gonna be cool with somebody and they don't even know who you are. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. They don't owe you anything. You haven't been doing them any favors. You just coming by. They're just there now. And yeah, I feel like yeah, it would definitely it makes more sense to stay in the US, man. Like just make a stand at this point because if you just look at the other places around the world that don't have the rights, the bitter rights that we have here, it's even worse, man. In France, Australia, the UK, it's a lot of all of Europe and as far as the other places, like it's such a crazy situation because everybody's trying to get to America, like he said, and they want to get as many immigrants in as possible. So it's even more of a gap between us to where people they speak in other languages. They look this, you're going to have an influx of all different people from all different places because they said they want to double the U.S. population. in the next 10 years. They
You
want it
think
to be
brought the Haitians?
another 300 million people here.
Why you think the Haitians
So
are being brought over? And they're not
yeah,
coming from Haiti. Like people gotta understand the routes, man. If you understand the routes how to get to America, there's no way they just coming straight from Haiti up to America. They're coming from Mexico. This is why Trump was trying to have that shit under control. Because motherfuckers could just enter this motherfucker at their own disposal and you won't know who. And they're not required to have papers or shit. And that's the problem. People think that this shit is just about, they just want to be racist. Like, no, this is nothing to do about racism. This is about motherfuckers being illegally able to come into this country and can do whatever the fuck they want, be wherever the fuck they want to be, and they don't have to have documentation. Meanwhile, they got you on fucking house watch. These motherfuckers got you by your phone. They could roll up on you at any time, harass you. They don't even know who this motherfucker is. At worst, they gonna send them back. And that's the bullshit. Because this is what America's been getting away with. They've been letting motherfuckers come in and wreak havoc, wreak terror, and they don't suffer no consequences other than send them back home. So people gotta wake up to this shit, man. Like, it's a lot more shit that's going on than meets the eye. And you gotta always dig deep. You always gotta question everything. You can't believe what you see on the news, especially if you're still watching the news in 2021. You are part of the problem. You are a sheeple. You are a part of the sheep. If you watching the news still, you are a part of the sheep because they don't have nothing for you. And I mean, I don't care if you black, white, Hispanic, Asian. I'm telling you the truth. They don't got shit for anybody. All they got is bullshit, and they trying to create division, and they trying to create distractions. Everybody got a fucking opinion on there, and these motherfuckers' opinion is really dumb if you really listen to them. So people gotta just start really doing your own research and trust your spirit, man. We over here talking about energy. Trust your spirit. Your spirit is going to let you know what feels right and what feels wrong. And that's why I said in the beginning, this is a spiritual warfare, because they're trying to control your mind, body, and most importantly, your spirit. Because once they got your spirit, they can control whatever else, because now they have full control of your willpower. Your spirit is your willpower. Once they snatch the spirit from a person, the person has no will to live. They're just existing. And a lot of
just a
motherfuckers
body.
are dead inside, and they don't want to admit it, but it's a lot of dead people around you that are just literally existing. They're literally zombies. We talking about apocalypse. The zombie apocalypse is already happening before the pandemic hit. It's motherfuckers that is already dead men walking, dead women walking, because they have chose to give it, like, basically give in to the bullshit and accept life for whatever it is, and have no control over it, and they choose to give up that control. And that's what's wrong with society. We give up the control of our own lives, and this is why we're still in this fucked up place now. It's because we willingly are giving our bodies up for vaccines and shit. We willingly go back to the schools and go back to work and sacrifice everything just so we can get some fucking money.
That's a matrix way of thinking right there. You know what I mean? For money, that don't even exist.
And if we stopped working and stopped going to school and stopped buying all they shit for one day, do you know what would happen to their economy? They don't. Do you guys know money doesn't exist? It's just fucking paper. And you could go to your local bank and ask them about what do they consider their assets. It's not the fucking money. Trust me. It's not the fucking money.
No.
It's so much more out there.
Well, hold on. We're gonna hold that thought though real quick. Neo Soul, we got one more person trying to get on. So we're gonna let you go and let them get a chance to ask T Bud or speak on whatever they want to speak on real quick, because we probably got around 15 minutes left.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate you for staying on, asking the questions.
Shit, my shit went out.
Yeah, I see somebody was talking about the knee pains. I know the knee
Right.
pains, man. Yeah, right knee is definitely gonna be associated probably with your liver. And it's got people have different metaphysical meanings for what things mean. But if you just look at reflexology and look at the body how it's developing in the fetal position, then you can see what is related, which organ that part of the body is related to. Like where your quad is lining up right with your liver. So usually, and your quad is what propels you forward, and like your liver is what's create as part of that process of turning your food into ash to propel you. So there's a connection emotionally with everything, and so with your especially with the right knee is gonna be connected to your liver. So your liver is gonna be associated with anger, and if you abuse anger, then you're because that's just nervousness, man. Like it's just different shades of nervousness. To be angry is just to be nervous. So you're like burning out a different part of a different organ, because the liver is creating the anger, and it's like the rigidity. It's like if you have a stiff knee, you're like stiff emotionally.
Mm.
So if it's the left knee, it's probably associated more with spleen and heart. But it's always going to be connected to some sort of emotional situation, and usually with rigidity and not being like the sentiment. I guess should be like just not being flexible and not bending. Usually creates the knee problems or a lot of joint problems, but definitely knees.
Mm. That's deep, though.
Not compromising. Yeah.
I would
That's
definitely
deep.
say some wall squats would be good for that, or like sitting on the wall for like 10 seconds before you go to sleep would be good for that as well. It kind of sends like the right signal to your body to basically focus on posture, and that's sending circulation through your legs all the way down to your feet. And I think that's a good posture for helping any type of pain with the knee, because you need to stretch out that area every night if you're having pain with your knees.
I
Yeah, most
second that.
definitely.
I second that. No, that's a good breakdown. Um,
Yeah, yeah, for
Wait,
sure.
who's in here? Who's in here?
Peace, peace, man. What's up, fellas?
Oh, okay, there you are.
Yeah,
What's going
yeah.
on, man?
Nah, chilling, man, chilling. I had like a specific question for the man T Bud earlier, but salute to your channel, bro. I've been following you for a couple years, probably. I gotta say.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, bro. You in tune with that. I was in the comments talking, just posting stuff earlier, but I said if we ever got a breathwork university, you got to be like the divine science teacher or some shit, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
you know.
I'm definitely trying to be up in there, man. We need to get around that for our men too, man. Bro,
Yeah, yeah. That's actually that's
man.
what I wanted to ask you. So like you talking about the metal netter and everything. You honestly put me on. Like I've heard it here and there throughout the past, but you be posting it heavy, so I already know. Like I don't know it too much, but the basics I got it from you posting it and whatnot. But how'd you come upon that? Were you like religious at first with it, and then you came across those? I'm curious because I used to be real deep into like one of my boys came out of prison, and he was he got onto Islam and everything. So that was that's part of my journey or whatever. I went deep into the religious mind state, subscribed for a little bit, but the spirituality side of it resonated more with me. You know what I mean? Fucking with you. I mean, hearing you speak about cleaning the body before, and it's just common sense. Honestly, you want to have the you don't want to claim your thoughts until your body's clean. You know what I mean? Like that's a ego, I guess, you know, I don't want to get too. I don't want to start going on a tangent, but yeah, man, how'd you come upon the metal netter and
The
whatnot?
Meta Netter.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Meta Netter, man. It really just through taking Dr. Africa's course, Pharaoh put me onto it like in a really great way to the teachers. You know, I mean, he a great teacher, man. Because like he said it like, you know, I said something like, yeah, man, I heard that word Meta Netter. He's like, you don't know the Meta Netter? Like, "Psh," and then he didn't suggest it or anything.
Right.
I was like, I got to figure out what this is. So yeah, you know, I bought all 7 of them. I'm like, man, I had remnants from Christianity like in me to where I could
Right.
integrate and relate a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like some of that was there to where I could bridge some gaps. But like honestly, man, that book, I feel like it kind of found me. Like it was almost like the next logical step in my life, like because it just was what I was matching with
Yeah.
energetically. Like I was in the radius of this book, and it really is like an oracle. Like same way I feel about the Tao Te Ching, and then the Meta Netter talks about the Tao Te Ching and all the Taoist philosophies and stuff. So you know the Hua Hu Jing, those books, I really feel like they're like living entities
Mm-hmm.
that they're like spirits that you know that you just interface with it, and they just show you yourself. They're just like great mirrors, and I really do feel that way. Like if you was to consolidate like Tupac into his music, and you're interfacing with that music, it's like the same thing. Like Lao Tzu making the Tao Te Ching, or Robin F. Armin making the Meta Netter. They're like,
Right.
it's
Like
like there's no
these
separation
are two
between. There's
guys
no
who never got like prophetic recognition compared to a religious teacher, but them teachings resonate with anybody on a spiritual level. You know what I mean? Like that's why
Yeah,
it's
and there's
like
no separation between the creator and the creature, or the creation and the poet and the poem, or the writer and what's written. So it's really like, you know, it really is like it really is an amazing thing that I feel like I really wanted to share it with people. When it got to me, I was like, man, this is it. It's so basic, but I guess we just, you know, I can see how you could be distracted. So I just felt like,
yeah.
man, I want to just spend my life expressing this because it just makes so much sense, and it's like, yeah, I don't. It's something. But the Meta Netter, I read it in like 3 days, man, and I just kept reading them. Like it was the only book that I could just continually read. I guess like the way people do with the Bible.
Right.
You know, it took me a while to get the Bible down, like, but
There's so many
The
versions of
Meta
the shit
Netter,
too, man. It's like it's not even. It's got a lot of holes in it. It's got a lot of religion itself. You know, has a lot of holes in the theory of subscribing to it when you look at it from you know, you detach yourself a little bit. You know what I mean? You're like, this is
From a
kind of crazy.
logical perspective.
You know, shit's kind of crazy, man.
yeah,
Motherfuckers will kill you in the name of God on both sides.
yeah. Yeah, no, the Meta Netter like really fills in those gaps, man, because it just was like something happened in Egypt when it fell, and all of these different mystery schools separated that probably used to integrate with each other, and one became Islam, one became Christianity, one became, you know, or the Semitics, the Hebrews or whatever. And it's
Right.
like these are all just like mystery schools. It was other mystery schools too, probably just became tribes, but it was really just or you know, you got to think about it too. A lot of the people got taken to America through slavery, the people that formulated Kemet.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of them people got taken and are the American blacks. So it's like it's all got like fragmented. All the knowledge is like it's in the physical body of the melanated person. The script is there, and it's like people. It's like everybody's embodying the script. You know what I mean? And then so it just has to come together more. And the Meta Netter is just like he really brought it together, man.
Mm-hmm.
Because like
Yeah, like
you know he came from slaves in Panama that they escaped, and then they were able to hold on to the voodoo, and he was able to hold on to that just enough through that getting passed down to where he got interested
is that
into this, to where he could bring this to us. And I'll just be like, man, this dude's still alive.
that's
And
Raul
no, and
Raul Neffer.
yeah,
That's him himself he was caught up in slavery and everything.
no, his
Oh,
family,
his
his
family.
family
Okay.
they were slaves that had escaped, and then they kept their voodoo traditions
Mm.
because they got to escape into the jungles of Panama. So it got passed down just enough to where it awakened something in him, to where, you know, that script got ignited, and then he just started it. He was just, you know, a match in a tinderbox, and he created the All Star Set Society, and it's people around the world that know him. And I just feel like it's all, he put it. It's like his lifetime's work. I feel like in the next 10 years, like his work will probably really
Get
really
recognition.
show you. Yeah, probably crystallize a lot more.
Right. I feel you. Have you ever heard of any of you fellas ever heard of some dude named Jiddu Krishnamurti? Krishnamurti. He's like
Mm,
nah.
I've heard of him.
Like
That's
I
a
don't know if
bit.
you like.
probably not.
It's a book that he has. It's called The First and Last Freedom. He has another book called The First. It's like The Last Awakening, but freedom from the known as well. Freedom from the known as well. Yeah. So it's like the dude's basically he's doing like a detached, objective view because he was set up to be like some world teacher as well, and some dude like it was called the Order of the Star or some shit. So it's like all real factual things that happened, but at the end of the day, the dude disformed the whole like there was a bunch of religious leaders that used to meet up that made this order, and then he like disbanded the whole shit. You know what I mean? And then his whole book, his whole message that he tried to leave behind was like, where truth is a pathless land, we're the observer and not the observed. You know, like detaching yourself from what you think and whatnot. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
yeah, that's I don't know. I thought maybe y'all might have heard of him before, but that's definitely something that that's one of them books that fucked me up a little bit too during my little religious escape. He brought it back to me like you're still painting a fairy tale to yourself if you're like a slave to your conditioning and whatnot. You know what I mean? Like you can't answer the truth of God if you're like biased in your own thoughts without even knowing the shit. Pretty much, you know what I mean? But thought it might have resonated with y'all, so man.
Oh, interesting. I mean,
Yeah,
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
yeah. You have to
Yeah.
shoot me the name. Yeah,
I
shoot me
heard
the
his
name.
name, but that's it.
Yeah. Like even in the I don't know if you ever seen that movie with Denzel about the boxer, the hurricane. Like you see,
Yeah,
you catch the book. He reads it in that too. You know, that's one of the books.
that's when you start meditating.
Yeah. You know, when he's in
Yeah,
jail,
yeah.
you know,
So
when he's deep,
yeah,
when he's deep
yeah. That's
into
when you
it.
start. Yeah. Okay. All right.
So yeah, you know,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's one of them books that kind of hit me hard when
Yeah.
I was on my awakening journey and whatnot.
It's always something though. Everybody has something different, you know what I mean, or whatever it may be. Like I
Yeah.
said before, health. Sometimes some people get in, they want to change their health or their diet because oh, they don't want to be overweight, but then that ends up leading them on a spiritual journey that they didn't think they would be on.
Right.
It's it's crazy. Yeah. All right. We got a couple of changes. We're gonna let one more person in real quick. LJ, I
Nah,
know
for
you're about
sure,
to head
man.
out. So we got just probably like 6 more minutes we're gonna utilize.
All right, man. Y'all fellas be easy, man.
Yeah, man.
You
Thanks
too,
for
man.
coming on. Thanks for coming on.
For sure.
All right. Okay. So who we bringing in? LJ, are you out of here?
Yeah, I'm gonna get up out of here, man. I got work in the morning.
All right. No problem.
Or
Let's see here.
I will. We'll be back on though on Wednesday for sure.
Every Monday, every Wednesday we do this, and I know everybody's definitely excited to hear from you, T Bud. So I mean, anytime you want to get back on, if you have something you want to say to the people, you're obviously always welcome on here.
Thank you, man. Nah, for real. It's always nice to connect, man. It's crazy. Yeah, like I know that a bunch of people will, it could change their life if they hear it. Shit, like
Absolutely.
you hear random stuff really changes so much.
Absolutely, man. There's probably people who came on here thinking they were going to hear about everything that's going on in the world or something, but it went to a whole nother
Yeah,
level, and sometimes people do they need to hear that. You know what I mean? They need that instead of focusing on everything the news is telling you. We need to stop looking outside and look inside. And I think you definitely you definitely help people to do that. So I really appreciate you being on, man.
no, no, man. Thanks again, man. So you want to just close it at this, or you letting somebody on?
She's on right now. I think she had
Hi.
either a couple of things to
Oh,
say.
Oh,
Sorry, I was
But
just waiting
she,
for an opportune moment to jump in the conversation. So I
yeah,
just learned something new right now. I'm sorry, I just got off of work and I caught the end of this, but I learned metter netter.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could not
There's
understand
no.
that for the life of me. So I had
Yeah,
to Google
some
it.
people say Maduna there,
Huh?
Maduna there. Some people say Maduna there.
Maduna.
It's not.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no, no.
because
I
there's
had
no syllables.
never
They
heard
didn't. I
that.
mean, no. What you call it? They didn't use vowels.
Wow. Okay, yeah. So it's very deep and there's a course on it that that's awesome. I like want to learn about it. Anyway, going back to what the guy was saying before about how we're so used to our conditioning. That's all ego, right? We are so, I don't know what it is about us as humans in this experience that we're living is we're so tied to an identity,
hmm
who we are to others, because we are a
yeah,
representation of what? Right? And that doesn't allow us to grow because we are so tied to who we are instead of who we could become. You know, they always say it's never too late to make a new choice, right? To make things better. Like he was mentioning about how his friends were in prison, right? And
hmm
how being around these type of people, these type of friends, you're used to being a certain type of way. And it's almost like they don't allow themselves to grow because they're tied to this identity. Although they know there is better. They know they can do better. At any time, I can choose to be a different person. So look, I'm a nanny and I deal with kids and mistakes all the time. And to teach a kid, to allow them to make mistakes, to grow, and to not be ashamed and be like, you know, this is who we are as humans. We get to change, we learn, we grow, and the next moment is a new moment. So there's no grudge holding. It's not about my ego or hers, the kids that I'm
yeah,
taking care of. It's about, okay, we learn and we do better the next time. But sometimes, whether that be, um, you know, a certain lifestyle that we partake in, lifestyle choices that we make for ourselves, whether it be being promiscuous or unhealthy habits, procrastination, all of these things that are holding us back, these excuses, in a way we're so comfortable because it has been a part of our identity. And we don't think, oh, I can connect to source, right? Going back to that, I can connect to source and be anything I want to be, literally
hmm
anything. When you get into that mind space, and what's crazy is that although it's such a great mind space and huge idea, there is only a very small hole that you can go through because how can I put this? Like, you have to understand that that little loophole, you have to go through it yourself. It's small. But as soon as you get through it, wow, the space is infinite. Am I making sense right now? I'm kind of going
Yeah,
like off.
no,
yeah.
absolutely.
I got you.
But
No.
Yeah, no, I really do. I feel that way. Yeah, like if you're in the moment, yeah, you just make a mistake and then you can adjust yourself accordingly. But if you're like not in the moment and then you make the mistake, then like you never even like really learned because you were just like thinking about failing or whatever it was, and then you never really actually just fail, and then you're like, oh, I'm still alive or whatever, and I just got to do what I got to do now,
Right.
you know. But that just never happens because it's just like so. It's like so many training wheels in life right now. They just want to censor life, and so yeah,
yeah.
it's crazy. Yeah.
So hold on. You just mentioned something and I continued listening to you and I lost my track of thought. But you were saying, what did you say? Shit. Can you rewind for me a little bit?
I was just saying that you should be in the moment so you can make your mistakes and realize you're still alive on the other side of them. But
Yes,
if you're like
fear.
so caught up in what might happen,
Fear.
you don't even you're not even present for the mistake.
And I'm not saying anything new right now about what's going on in the world, how fear is what's got everybody by the balls right now. Fear.
hmm
So many people are coming to me telling me, I think I'm going to get the vaccine. Or sorry, I think I'm going to get the jab. You know, I'm going to lose my job. You know, you have no
Yeah,
idea how many of my friends are hitting me up with this. And I'm like, you guys hold the line. Hold the line.
yeah.
Fear.
Uh,
And I get it. There's so many different. I get
Guys,
it.
we're off in 20
Okay.
seconds.
All
All
right.
right. So, should we,
Well, good chatting.
I guess we should probably, yeah, we should probably, I wanted to get, him in here to ask this question, but,
Okay.
I will post. T Bud, you want to go in and, one more time and then just put all your stuff there so people can follow?